The FBI has arrested Jeffrey Epstein's number one, Ghislaine Maxwell, and already conspiracy theories have run amok. I saw AOC tweet about this, and she was saying something positive like, this is great, good to see you arrested. And I'm sitting here thinking like, rock on, AOC. I completely agree. Glad to see Ghislaine Maxwell's being arrested. Let's just pray that they place, I don't know, no less than 800 cameras around her at all times, live streaming to the public. Otherwise, we know what's going to happen. Already, we're seeing all the jokes. You know, what are they saying? Ghislaine Maxwell didn't kill herself tomorrow or things like that, right? Making jokes about it. What I find particularly funny about the whole Epstein thing is that when Epstein got arrested, everybody said he's going to kill himself. Everybody. And most people were only like half joking. Now, of course, a lot of people weren't joking at all. But no, I really mean it. Like high profile people were half joking when they were like, I think he's going to kill himself. And then he did. And that was it. There was a funny viral meme where they said something like, when he eventually kills himself, do we riot? And it was a joke, but not really. Like people knew the system was corrupt. Well, now the story about Ghislaine Maxwell is getting interesting because this actually goes back to the firing of someone in the Southern District of New York. Check out this story from the New York Times. Trump fires U.S. attorney in New York who investigated his inner circle. The president's move heightened criticism that he was purging his administration of officials whose independence could be a threat to his reelection. So this is, let me read it. President Trump on Saturday fired the federal prosecutor whose office was investigating him, right? It was the dismissal of prosecutor Jeffrey S. Berman in the Southern District of New York. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested. All of a sudden, conspiracy theories are running rampant. I present to you the two scenarios. Of course, on the right, they say, Bill Barr and Donald Trump are finally going to drain the swamp. They are going after her, and they're going to take down her and the Clintons, and this big crony cabal in the deep state is going down. That's why Ghislaine must be protected at all costs. Her testimony is paramount. It must not be prevented in any way. Of course, within this theory is that Berman was blocking whatever it was with Ghislaine. He was protecting them and targeting Donald Trump. Why? Because Donald Trump is trying to drain that swamp. That's the gist of what a lot of people believe. I don't want to say everybody because, everybody believes a little bit of something different. The left sees it the other way around. Berman was going after Ghislaine, and Donald Trump and Bill Barr knew they were next. They knew that as soon as Ghislaine came out and was arrested, that Donald Trump would be implicated. And they're posting all these photos of Trump with Maxwell and Trump with Epstein. And the reason Donald Trump fired Berman was to stop him from using Maxwell to go after Trump. That's what they really believe. Or I don't want to pretend like every single person believes this, but these are kind of just general overviews. The idea being that Trump and Barr intervened to remove Berman because they need to control the Maxwell situation, limit what she says, limit what she testifies, and make sure that she doesn't go after them. Perhaps the reality is actually a little bit closer to the middle. Perhaps Trump and Barr are going to bring her to justice. She is going to start naming names. And perhaps the elites are all in it together, but are fighting each other. Maybe Donald Trump's involved too. I remember reading and hearing a bit about this idea, a couple of years ago, that what we're really seeing right now is not a hot civil war of the public. It's not Trump fighting the establishment. It's the global elites fighting each other. That they once were all in this together and fractured. I mean, look, Donald Trump's a billionaire, right? No, I don't know. I'm just presenting you some of the ideas bouncing around. But there is something interesting about this. As you know, the accusations made against Epstein and Maxwell have to do with trafficking. But something interesting was pointed out by this guy, Eli Honig. This guy is a CNN legal analyst, former federal and state prosecutor. Here's what he said. SDNY just announced the Ghislaine Maxwell case, like the original Epstein case, is staffed by the Public Corruption Unit. I worked at SDNY and did trafficking cases. They do not run out of public corruption staff. What he means is public corruption offices. Unless there is some potential angle against a public official. There it is. This leads me to believe that the likelier theory going around right now is that Berman was blocking some kind of actual moves to be made against Maxwell, or that Barr and Trump don't trust him and that they knew they were going to make a big move against Maxwell. And this prosecutor had to be removed from his position if justice would be had. The reason I think that is that if Donald Trump and the DOJ were trying to control the situation, they wouldn't be involving public corruption. That could target themselves. If they really were intervening to try and control the situation, public corruption would be out the window. They'd manipulate the circumstances. They'd get rid of the prosecutor who was potentially going to go after them. The fact that Berman was removed and now they're going for some kind of public corruption angle says to me potentially, and again, all wild speculation, complete assumptions. We have no idea what's going on. It says to me that the likelier of these wild theories would be that Trump is trying to drain the swamp, that Bill Barr is going to go after Ghislaine Maxwell, not Ghiswell, mix their names up, and actually target some of these big cabal, corporate, whatever. Now, the reality is we just don't know. And the simple solution for now is what we know is that she's accused of being involved in Epstein's trafficking. But she was recently, they say in the indictment, I suppose, that she was traveling around the world. She was in places like Qatar, and people want to know, what was she doing traveling around all this time? Perhaps she was setting up contingencies, maybe moving around some money. We won't know for sure. And we don't know exactly what's going on, and all anyone can do is speculate. But the one thing I can say for sure, I bet the odds in Vegas, and I mean this figuratively, for Maxwell killing herself are extremely high. Let's be real, man. What is the likelihood that we see another Epstein moment? Think about how crazy this was. They got Epstein. They had him locked up, and they had sleepy guards and broken cameras. Are you kidding me? Seriously, how did that happen? If Bill Barr, Trump, or whoever, I think Bill Barr was involved, was running things at the time. If they had this guy, how could they not understand the need for some heavy security? Which brings us now in the other direction. The left thinks that Bill Barr is in on it, that they're trying to shut him down. But I don't believe so, because Bill Barr was out of the game for like 20 years. He was, I believe he was attorney general back in the early 90s, and he was brought back in. So I don't see him as being involved and wanting to cover anything up because he wasn't here. It's hard to know for sure. Perhaps when it came to Epstein, they just royally messed up. They made assumptions about who they can trust and they shouldn't have. And then all of a sudden, Epstein was found dead. And you got one guy claiming that he didn't kill himself. At least that's what, one guy's saying. It looks like he was strangled. Well, we'll never know. And the powers that be they'll make claims about what is true and what's a conspiracy. You'll see all of these journalists in media just start towing the line and saying, no, don't believe it. But let me tell you something. We all knew it. Everybody was saying it, right? That when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, he's going to kill himself. So what are the chances now? In my opinion, I would be shocked if she actually gets testimony through. If she actually speaks, if she actually names names, and something actually happens. I'd be shocked, Maybe we'll learn some hidden truths. I don't know for sure. There's already some interesting points being brought up. Asha Rangappa, who is super anti-Trump, I believe, said, Eli, I think his name is Eli, I don't get the plea agreement with Epstein that immunized random unnamed third parties. How is that possible? I can't see how that could be a legitimate defense for Maxwell. Thoughts? Totally agree. That plea deal was unconscionable, and I've never seen one like it. And glaring evidence of the absurd deal they gave Epstein down in Florida. I also don't think it's enforceable, particularly by a non-party like Maxwell. Perhaps that's why they got rid of Berman. Perhaps they knew he was going to try and cover this up, defend it. I don't know. Now listen, I am purposefully not going through all the lists of charges of Maxwell because I think most of you already know, and I want to make sure that YouTube doesn't suppress this video and have any excuse to do so. I believe, and I will say it right now, that Maxwell's not going to, I know it's kind of weird to say, but I don't think she's going to make it. Was it a joke when we said Epstein was going to lose his life? To some people, like half, I say half joke because everyone's kind of looking at each other's side-eyed like, yeah, is it really going to happen? Oh, now I think we're certain. Unless, of course, Trump and Barr and anybody else who actually wants to get to the truth and actually wants to seek justice surrounds this person with loyalists to stop anyone from coming after her. But who knows? What if the left is right? What if it was Bill Barr who orchestrated the demise of Epstein because they didn't want him to testify, because Trump was in on the take? What if the reality is closer to the middle? It's not about left or right. It's not about Trump or Democrats. It's about the fact that all the rich people in the world were in on this game together, and now they're trying to make sure these people shut up. You know what? It's fun to speculate, but we just won't know. For the time being, I thought it would be interesting to highlight these issues and bring up the arrest of Maxwell. But again, I don't think we'll know. I'm certainly not going to know. And I don't think you or anybody else will. Of course, you're going to hear a lot of people who claim they know for sure. And people on the left are already claiming that Trump is trying to cover things up. But I think that's just silly. I think all we can really do is sit back and hope that we actually get some justice. But I'll tell you this. If Maxwell comes out and starts naming names and it protects Trump, the left won't believe it. That's where we're at right now. Same thing with the election. No matter what happens, the other side won't believe it. So with Trump in power, perhaps it's his opportunity. I'll leave it there. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.